Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lanolin, and we are back with episode 7 of Feed the Beast Unstable. In this episode, we are going to finally mess around with blood magic. I've been kind of teasing it a little bit here and there, and me running around with my bound pickaxe, bound sword, and some of my living armor has a bit of a tease, I would imagine. So this episode, we're finally going to get started. I'm going to show you guys how to get started with blood magic with the new changes that were implemented in 1.8.9. Now, if you're familiar with 1.7 blood magic, most of it is still there, but at the same time, a lot of it has changed. So let's get started. But anyway, let's go in here. Blood magic. All right, so the first thing that honestly you need to be worrying about with blood magic is getting yourself a Hellfire Forge. And B, actually, I guess I should say A rudimentary snare, and then B, a Hellfire Forge. So B is going to come in a minute. Let's grab ourselves some rudimentary snares. Actually, I might have some still. I do have 2. Nice. Let's go get a couple more just in case. Just in case. Because we're trying to get these guys. We need some demonic will. Before we can really do too much, we need some demonic will. Now, you are still able to make the blood altar. Actually, no. I guess you can make the blood. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, you need a demonic will now to create the blood altar. Demonic wills are pretty easy to get, but early game you need yourself some rudimentary snares, which a little bit of RNG is involved, not too much, but enough that it could be a little bit tedious at first. And thankfully it's getting dark, so let's hang out for a little bit, wait till it gets dark, and oh man, I'm running around my base. I said I wouldn't run around my base. I guess we could take a look at my blood altar. So I've started with blood magic, and I got a little bit of blood altar stuff set up. We're only at tier 3 at the moment, but I've gone self-sacrifice because I really didn't want to deal with building a a spawner mob grinder type of thing. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go self-sacrifice, and yeah, it's been all right so far. So self-sacrifice is pretty much as you would expect. It's pretty tedious. It's pretty grindy. And kind of irritating. But it works. It works because you don't need to do so much grinding of mobs and building of mob towers. So here we go. So the way these rudimentary snares work, you have to throw them at a mob. Ugh. And every time you do it, there is I think a 25% chance, or maybe it's a 75% chance, I don't remember which way it went, that they will have these like little white particles around them. So let's... Can you like white particle that, please? How about you? There we go. Ugh. Nice. So when we get those white particle effects, if you slay them while they're under those white particle effects, you get yourself a demonic will. Nice. You bastard. I figured we could get a few. For whatever reason, this guy just doesn't want to... Huh. Whatever. Get wrecked. Maybe because he's a villager. Or a villager zombie, I should say. But anyway, so we got what we wanted. We needed these demonic wills. And if you're unfamiliar with blood magic, just ignore the weak blood shards for now. If you are familiar with blood magic, just ignore the weak blood shards for now. We have demonic wills. The weak blood shards come from the bound sword. That's part of something else, future late tier stuff for blood magic. For now, we're focusing on these demonic wills. So anyway, as you can see, both demonic will have they have different will qualities. Now, this is probably the most lucky I've ever gotten with these demonic wills, so they may have gotten changed a little bit from when I initially did it, but when I first started messing around with blood magic, man, it took me forever to get a demonic will of at least a 1.0 quality. That's kind of what you're shooting for. You want at least 1.0. You can still do other things with your demonic will, with a weak demonic will, the one that's below 1.0. Like, for example, you can make the blood altar because, as you can see, it only requires a will quality of 0. 0 being, like, not much of anything. And that's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get that going. Well, I guess we already have the blood altar, but what we can do is now take a look at the Hellfire Forge. Because once you have yourself the demonic will, the next thing you want to do, like I said, is get that Hellfire Forge going, which I have right here. So let's get this guy down. Boom! Hellfire Forge. Nice. So the Hellfire Forge is new to blood magic, and it's kind of the way that you go about making a lot of the sigils and some of the ritual stones, I believe. Well, I know for a fact that a lot of the sigil stuff, sigil creation is done with the Hellfire Forge, and the new item routing system is created using the Hellfire Forge. So let us get started. So we have our demonic will, and one of the first things that you want to make as soon as you get a demonic will, like you make yourself a blood altar, which I don't believe it's consumed when you create the blood altar. At least it wasn't when I initially made my blood altar. I don't know about now. And you guys can find out and know. But you want to make yourself a petty Tartaric gem, which, as you can see, if you mouse over the arrow right here, it only requires a minimum of 1.0 will, which is why it was important. Because you really want to get this Tartaric gem. Because you don't want to carry around a bunch of demonic wills. These Tartaric gems are going to allow you to absorb the demonic will into a usable form, you know? A nice way to store all of the will. Because you're going to have a lot. You're going to need a lot over the course of blood magic. So anyway, what else do we need? We also need the Sentient Sword. The Sentient Sword is going to allow you to not need to use these snares. The sword is going to allow you to kill dudes and increases the chances of getting yourself a demonic will by quite a bit. And they're all guaranteed to be at least 1.0. None of those lower than that scraggler pieces of junk. But it does require a petty Tartaric gem all on its own. So initially, you're going to need, I think, two will. Oh, actually, I guess this doesn't require anything. That's pretty good. Hell yeah. So yeah, let's make one. I've already made one already, but that's all right. I've got no problem with making another. So first things first, let's get this gem going. Probably the most important. We're actually going to make two because we want to have one for the sword and then one to store our will that we're going to gather with the sword. So we need 2 gold, 2 lapis, 2 redstone, 2 glass. It was lapis, not glowstone. And 2 glass. Right? Alright, cool. And actually, while we're in here, I might as well grab an iron sword. Which, do I have any? I don't have any that aren't repaired. So there we go. Got our stick. Alright, so let's run over to this Hellfire Forge. Now, the first thing, when you don't have a Tartaric gem, you just, very simple, just drop your little demonic will right over there on the right. Keeping in mind that it needs to be, for the purposes of making the gem, it needs to be at least 1.0. If it's less than 1.0, you're not really going to be able to use it for much outside of making the blood altar. So anyway, let's get our resources in there. No particular order, just get them in there. There we go. It's going to fill up. Ooh, it's much fancier now. I like it. So that's 1 petty Tartaric gem. It's going to go ahead and make us another one. These guys obviously not stacking or stackable. Nice. That used 2 will. So yeah, it's really nice. Each one of these demonic will has their own value. So you don't have to worry about losing it whenever you need to use something, even if it has, you know, way more than what you need it for. Yeah. I wonder if the Ender Dragon would drop a demonic will. Like how much it would be worth. That'd be really cool actually to see. Like something that people could fight over, you know, on a server. Like, oh no, I want the Ender Dragon's 1,000 demonic will. No, I want the Ender Dragon's 1,000. That'd be cool. I really hope that there is actually like a crazy demonic will amount associated with the Ender Dragon. That would be pretty nifty. So anyway, now that we have these Tartaric gems, we can go ahead and make a sentient sword. Whoa, get out of there. I'll get you in there. And did this require? Yeah, this doesn't require anything. So we could actually put, I believe we can put our Tartaric gem in here and it'll count as the catalyst. Nice, nice. Dink. Just like that, sentient sword. All right, so let's take that guy out of here. All right, so what we can do, and it's still dark, which is excellent. Let's go ahead and switch this out. As a demonstration, if we throw this demonic will on the ground with the petty Tartaric gem, just in our inventory, it doesn't need to be on the action bar or anything like that, we should pick them up. Nice, and they go into the Tartaric gem. Aha, like I said, it is a demonic will storage system. So let's run around. Shift right click to activate the sword. As you can see, it's got that glow around it now. Boom. Activated. Ooh. Let's kill some stuff. Most of them should drop demonic will. Ooh. Don't want to look around too... well, a little bit of Botania stuff. Nothing too special. But again, I'm not trying to run around too terribly much. Don't want to spoil the base. Don't want to spoil the builds. Hell yeah. See? He dropped a demonic will. Bam. Now, unfortunately, well, actually, I think the sentient... Yeah. Actually, the sentient sword can be enchanted. So if it's actually super early game for you, like say you wanted to get started on a... I had a feeling he wasn't going to, or I wasn't going to kill him in time. I'm used to my bound sword. The bound sword 2 shots creepers, while the sentient sword only 3 shots them. Oh, man. Spider with effects. Nice. So anyway, like I said, you can actually enchant the sentient sword. So like if you're kind of early game and you want a fairly powerful sword, or if you're, of course, grinding mobs and everything, it would be worth enchanting the sentient sword. I think one of the sentient swords that I had, I actually enchanted. And it's pretty nice. It accepts enchants fairly nicely. Or at least it used to. We can actually double check and make sure right now that that was not changed. Yeah, nice. Wow. I mean, unfortunately, mine's going to get a really crappy enchant, but yeah, you know, it works. So anyway, with that, let's see what else we can mess around with. So let's take a look at our Tartaric gem. Look at that, we're up to 13 will now. Not too bad, not too bad. Now, the downside to the sentient sword is it's the only way to reliably get will. The last time I used the sentient bow, it didn't really work that well, to be honest. It didn't really drop any will, and then of course, it's a bow, so whatever you're shooting is kind of far away. I was kind of hoping with the, okay, here might be a problem. We're going to dip from that guy real quick. We're going to switch to my bound sword. And mess him up. Okay, actually, no. We're going to run away. Dude, Thaumcraft mobs can get very scary. Very scary. The super buffed ones can get super spooky. Uh-oh. I've made a horrible mistake! Ah! Whew. I'm glad that I have the living armor. The living armor from Blood Magic actually changed a lot. It's really, really, really cool. Wait, what? How did they get outside? There's a way to get into my base that I don't know about? Oh, wait. Actually, they probably just stepped on the pressure plate, huh? All right, so anyway, we're going to ignore him for now because he's going to kill me, and I want to keep doing what I'm doing. So anyway, with our Tartaric gem, we've got 13 will. And as I mentioned in the past, a lot of the things that a lot of the air sigils, or a lot of the sigils, I should say, require some sort of reagent to be created in the Hellfire Forge. It's pretty nice. Like, I really like this system because it takes a lot of the grind away from the Blood Altar. Because in the past, whenever you wanted to make, you know, any type of the sigils or anything, you needed to make a bunch of slates in the Blood Altar and then go from there. Now it's a little bit, it's kind of like its own system. It's got its own mechanics that require you do a little bit different things, which I will show here in a moment. Do I still have the air sigil? Trying to see what I already have so I don't make anything I don't need. Don't mind me. Okay, so I have the divination sigil and the air sigil. It all pretty much works the same way as it always did, except, oh man, look at that. Oh, when you spam it, it doesn't like spam the hell out of your chat. Like you just kind of, like it doesn't spam, dude. That's so awesome. It clears the chat before placing a new text. Like it clears itself out of the chat. Like again, if you're a longtime Blood Magic user, like man, you know that is like one of the most irritating things is to have your chat just completely cleared trying to do Blood Magic, man. It is not. It was not too fun, but quality of life changes. I love them. So anyway, like I was saying, making a lot of these sigils requires the use of the Hellfire Forge and the new Alchemy Array mechanic. As I'm sure you've seen up here where it says Alchemy Array. You're like, what? What do I? What? What am I supposed to do? Well, I will show you. The first step into creating yourself an Alchemy Array, because I think we should make the. I don't know. Do I want to do the sigil of the Green Grove? Some of the sigils aren't activated yet as far as having a crafting recipe. I like the sigil of the Blood Lamp. I'd really like to make one, but it's just not quite ready yet. And then what else could I use? I'm not really worried about too much of the other stuff. Fast mining, haste, suppression, magnetism. Oh, magnetism might actually be nice. Oh, it's not ready. Elemental affinity. I'm not actually sure what that is. Falling fire fishes. What? I don't know. I'm not sure. Void sigil. That might be nice. Void some stuff. But I think I'm going to go with the sigil of the Green Grove. Always useful. Always great to have. And to make that, we need a growth reagent. So a couple saplings, some sugarcane, and some sugar. Well, actually, before I say that, I should double check and see what we need. All right, so here's where the will system comes into a little bit more play. I've mentioned, as I showed before, you need to have X amount of will to create certain items. Well, some items are tiered in that you require a higher minimum amount of will than a different item. Like, again, for example, here, we require a minimum of 128 will, while something like the Sentient Sword or the Petty Tartaric Gem only requires a minimum of 1 will. So it's something that you can make fairly easily pretty early on. So when you want the Sigil of the Green Grove, oh man, 128 minimum will, that's way more than my little Tartaric Gem could actually hold. The little one can only hold about 60, I think. I actually have it in here, almost full. He's at 42, yeah, so I think they can only hold about 60 maxed out. After that, you'd have to make yourself a lesser Tartaric Gem. A few more items, of course, another Petty Tartaric Gem, but this is going to give you a nice big maximum of, I think, 200 and something, 240, just about. Maybe the common gem is the 240. Okay, so yeah, the common gem is the minimum 240. So I think this guy, or the lesser one, maxes out at like 128. Maybe a little bit higher than that, because they seem to be slightly higher than their I'm not sure what I think it's integer value. Oh man, I'm talking about things I'm not totally sure of. That could be dangerous, very dangerous. So anyway, yeah, whenever you're trying to make a new or more advanced sigil, it's going to require a little bit of work. Like for example, this guy, the divination sigil, really easy to make. This requires redstone and a blank slate. But how do we get the alchemy array? That's probably the thing that everyone's really curious about the most. How do I do this alchemy? Where is this alchemy array block? Well, it's not really a block. In order to get a hold of the alchemy array system, you need to first create some arcane ashes. Not too bad. Hey, and it doesn't require any type of minimum will, so you can make it pretty early on. So let's do it. There we go. I'll toss that in there, put that gem in there, and wait, is it really going to eat my gem? Oh, I need bone meal. There we go. And again, it has no minimum requirement, so you can make this pretty much instantly. And what's nice is because this has no minimum requirement, and the divination sigil only requires a blank slate and some redstone, which blank slates are created as they always were, stone in the blood altar. 100 LP means you can get your divination sigil just as early as you used to be able to. But anyway, how do we do it? How do we get about doing it? It's quite easy. I don't have any blank slates. Figures. That figures. I have a bunch of imbued slates, but no blank slates. Alright. We can pump out a blank slate real quick, actually. Because I'm pretty sure I have enough blood in my blood altar for that. Here we go. Go! And I guess we can do it outside. Actually, no. I'm going to do it inside, and for good reason. Alright. Easy enough blank slate. Alright, so some of these, like making a division or one of the sigils doesn't require, like, you don't have to be too worried about making the sigils. When we move into messing around with the bound stuff, then it gets a little bit scary. But for the most part, it's pretty safe. So when you're trying to do an alchemy array, all you need to do is get yourself some arcane ashes and right-click the ground. Easy! So the recipe, very simple. Redstone, blank slate, get you a divination sigil in the alchemy array. That means you want to take yourself a piece of redstone, right-click the alchemy array, take your blank slate and right-click the alchemy array, and watch the awesome. Boop. Haha, awesome, dude. And that's how you get yourself sigils. Using the alchemy array. And I believe all of the sigils are crafted in that way. They just require some different types of reagents that you all have listed right here. Very cool. Now, I wanted to create the sigil of the Green Grove, which requires a reinforced slate and some growth reagent. So what I'm going to do is actually grab another piece of stone, run outside. And what are you sitting at? 3,200. All right, good. So you're not going to turn into something I don't want you to. I don't think so, right? Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, you only need 2,000, and you need 5,000. All right, so you will make, and I don't have to worry about you. All right, so as we want to go ahead and get this growth reagent going. So sugar, sugarcane, and some saplings. Saplings. Sugar. And sugarcane. Was that correct? I feel like that might not be correct. Oh, no, that was correct. Okay. And we need this 128 minimum will. Now, I'm not going to worry about making it on camera because it's pretty much the same way as making all the other gems. But you would need the lesser tartaric gem in order to make this guy, because the lesser tartaric gem is going to have that 120, or I'm sorry, the 124 minimum, or the 120 that it requires. The petty one's too small. The lesser one will do you quite nicely. And I actually thought I had a lesser one sitting around, but I may have ended up losing it. So I have the petty one right there. Oh, actually, IJK, we can make a lesser one. Why not? Let's make a lesser one. It never hurts to have a few extra gems sitting around. Since we made the petty one, we can make the lesser one. In the next episode, we can make the Sigil of the Green Grove and take a look at its functionality, because it's the same but different, and that it's more expensive. So I pretty much that's pretty much it, I guess. So right, we need lapis block, redstone block, diamond. Redstone. Nice. Now, the only thing that kind of weirds me out a little bit about these recipes is that each one actually... Oh, no, they were changed. Okay, cool. They used to always require a petty gem. Like, each recipe required a petty gem, and that was a little bit strange to me. But they seem to be balanced properly now. Wow, that last one, the grind one, Nether Star and the Greater Tartaric Gem. That's pretty intense. I like it. But from what I've seen, these are supposed to be placeholders. These will probably change in the future, as they have already changed at least once. Ooh, this one's not actually quite full enough. Wow, that's all right. I'll grab my common gem that I had hidden over there. As you can see, the common gem, look at that. I've got that baby up to 777.24. So they grow exponentially. They get pretty freaking high up there. So let's make this a lesser one real quick. As an example. Nice. Use a little bit of my power, but that's okay. And then we have the common one, which also pretty straightforward. Now, this, I think at this point, it's the first time... Yeah, see, you can even get up to the point where you can make sigils without even needing to create an altar outside of obviously making the reinforced slates. So these guys actually move along quite nicely. Like, the altar moves kind of slowly alongside. Thank you. The gems and your will collection, so it's nice. I really like it. It kind of gives you the opportunity to still play around with blood magic and get some cool stuff with blood magic without needing to stand in front of an altar killing mobs for hours and hours. That got so old so fast. So before we close out the episode, I want to make this really quick, the Sigil of the Green Grove, which I'm going to go ahead and use my common Tartaric gem, because we don't have the time for me to fill this lesser Tartaric gem up yet. So let's just use the common one and get this going. So we got our growth reagent. Let's throw down our arcane ashes, growth reagent, reinforced slate, and that should go. Nice and easy. Nice and simple, outside of needing to grind mobs just a bit for some will. It's nice and straightforward. And, yeah, pretty cool. I think my favorite part about the will system is that it is because it has the minimums and then the uses for maximum. So while you will need to grind out 60 will, once you have that 60 will, you don't really need to do too much more grinding unless, of course, you make something very expensive or make a bunch of or cheap things, you know, obvious stuff like that. So yeah, it's like a tiered system without there really being like an obvious like tier system, like with the Blood Altar where it's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, etc., etc. I'm sure you guys understand what I mean. But anyway, I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the episode. Next episode, we're going to come back and we're going to take a look at the bound armor. And I think that'll pretty much cover it. I think after we cover the bound armor and looking at a few other mechanics that exist in blood magic, I think that should get us right back on track and everything should work as planned. So thanks for watching, guys. I have been Lanolin. Be sure to like, favorite, and if you have not already, subscribe. I love it so very, very much. So again, thanks for watching, guys. I've been Lanolin, and I will see you next time. Bye.